Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to 8-Bit Chazzy, the segment on this channel where I review the games that I play, both on and off of YouTube. You know, I actually should explain how that works now. I used to review the games that I played, you know, I would do the full playlist and review the actual game itself or maybe the series, you know. But now, lately, I've been sort of expanding a little bit more and reviewing games that I have played before, not necessarily on the channel, because it's going to give you guys a lot more variety. It's going to be like Cinema Chazzy and Chazzy, where I talk about movies now and TV shows that I have watched, you know, not necessarily recently, you know, but in any order, any movie that I want to review and TV shows. So that's what I'm going to be doing from now on with these game reviews, you know. And today's game is going to be something that honestly, it definitely fits on the top 10 best games I have ever played in my entire life, and that is, as the title suggests, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You know, I might just insert, you know, Breath of the Wild down here, you know, to make it a little easier, because that is one hell of a long title. So it was released back in 2017 for the Nintendo Switch, and like it had been a long time. It had been a long time since I had played any Zelda game. Actually, no, I believe it was the very first Zelda game I ever played. Actually, yeah, now that I think about it, I don't think I have ever played any single Zelda game ever, because I'm confusing it with Super Smash Bros, which does have Link as a playable character, but that was never Zelda. So this was actually the very first Zelda game that I ever played, you know, which you guys might think, wow, he calls himself an avid gamer, but he's such a poser. How the hell do you call yourself a gamer and not play any Zelda game, you know? Okay, in my defense, you know, like, I mean, I started to get more into PlayStation and Xbox as a young kid, you know. Nintendo was just more my childhood. Once I got a taste of the next gen, the 3D polygons, I never really looked back on Nintendo. So I never had a Nintendo GameCube. But the point is that this was a really good way to be introduced to the Zelda series, you know, for obvious reasons. The game is freaking insane. And I actually think that, like, in a broad sense, like, if you really stop to think about it, it offers you a little bit of everything, because it is a huge open world exploration. Similar to the original Legend of Zelda game back in the 80s, you're given little to no instructions on how the game works. Right from the get-go, you just explore freely, do what the hell you want, and figure out the controls yourself, you know, so, which isn't really bad, you know. It's actually, it should be encouraged a little bit, because it's kind of like the way you mess around with the controls and figure it out. Although games with tutorials are fun, but this one was okay, you know. If you played any Zelda game, this one really came naturally to you. And because the world is so huge, you know, you can explore, and there is an overlying story which you can finish in a non-linear fashion, so you don't have to follow the mission like specifically right from beginning to end. There's way too much to explore, countless side quests and missions, activities, mini games, puzzles, you know. You can go into the shrines and get different get different upgrades and stuff, so to make Link be a little better. So now I have a lot to say about this game, and hopefully I can sum it up in a not too long of a review. And sporadically I will try to insert maybe pieces of the game trailer, you know, or maybe clips of the actual game itself, you know, so I can kind of transition a little better starting right now. Pretty cool, huh? Almost makes you want to play it yourself, eh? So anyway, this is in total the 19th installment in the Zelda franchise, you know, and it actually takes place at the end of the Zelda timeline. If you don't know what the Zelda timeline is, go and look it up, man. I refuse to elaborate on that, mostly because I could make a whole video just talking about that, you know, but I'm not Mad Pat over on Game Theory, so screw that. You guys can just look it up later. But basically it tells the story of Link awakening from a 100-year slumber to take on and defeat, you know, Calamity Ganon and prevent him from taking over the Hyrule Kingdom. So basically, right from the get-go, you can explore the world, meet a few characters, you know. The combat system is really cool, you know. They use a very intricate system where you can pick up and use weapons, you know, and they will eventually degrade and destroy. So I kind of ran a lot, you know. I kind of really fled from a lot of the fights because I wasn't really prepared. And there are these things called Guardians, I believe they're called, or Sentinels, I think it's Guardians, where they can kill you with one hit if you're not careful, you know, because you do have to get upgrades for your hearts, you know, to have more health bars up at the top, and if you don't, then you can pretty much die with one hit from certain enemies. And it has a really cool day and night cycle, and there is a lot of attention to detail with the realism, like if you happen to be carrying metal anywhere on you, you know, and there's a lightning storm, you can actually get struck by lightning and die instantly if your health is low enough. So I think it's actually an insta-kill no matter how many hearts you have. I don't remember. So it's really cool how you can explore the game. You can go on foot, on horseback, you know. There's also a system where you can like teleport between certain places, you know. If you, I forgot what they're called, you can climb up these really high towers and establish what's kind of like a checkpoint of sorts, you know. So, and you can see a lot of the kingdom, you know, all over the place. Eventually you do get a glider which you can use to jump from really high distances and cover a lot of ground quickly, you know. So the open world is really open, and we're talking like, to me it's even better than Grand Theft Auto 5 because it's much bigger, and if it's not, well, it certainly feels that way. You can go to more places and do more things, you know, and you can climb rocks to get to unreachable areas. And it was actually, even though some of the distance covered took a while, I actually had fun playing it for hours, you know, because in case you guys don't know, I borrowed a Nintendo Switch some time ago. A friend lent it to me, you know, and one of the games he had was Breath of the Wild, and I played it for so many hours, you know, and I explored so much, did so many quests, you know, got so many upgrades, and it just felt so good, man, you know, because the freedom to do whatever the hell you wanted, you know, when you wanted, how you wanted, is just unprecedented. So I love open world games, I really do. And so you can complete the quest in a non-linear fashion, like I said before, you know, which is good because it's funny to imagine you like doing a bunch of the side quests first and then eventually fighting Ganon and you're like freaking overpowered as hell. But fun fact, there is a way for you to fight Ganon right from the start of the game, you know. It is possible to go straight to the final boss, but I mean, you're gonna die in like 2 hits, you know, because you need the upgrades to actually, you know, I think there is a way to beat him from the get-go, you know. It takes like a few minutes, but it's really not fun that way, let's be honest. You know, I mean, Nintendo took so long to make such a huge, you know, exploration game, so why would you not even try to explore, you know? Why would you go straight to the end? That's like, there would be no emotion behind that, you know. So very good piece of Zelda lore, you know. You get to find out more about how the Kingdom of Hyrule works, you know, and what's been going on while you were sleeping, and the characters are very memorable, you know, really cool to follow, and everything about the game is amazing, you know. It's the kind of game that I literally, it can't be flawed. There's nothing wrong with it. There is a sequel in the works that's going to release next year, but honestly, why would you even need a sequel? Let's be real. Why would you even need a damn sequel to a game like this if the first one was already perfect, you know? Unless you're going to follow the same formula, just tell a different story with different characters doing different things in different places, you know. But it's really hard. It's like Grand Theft Auto 5. How the hell can you make a Grand Theft Auto 6? What are you gonna do? I mean, 5 was already perfect enough, you know. So in my opinion, this game just, God, man, I don't even know. Like, I could probably talk about it all day and still have more to, I don't know. But while I gather my thoughts, let me put in another piece of it here.
The history of the royal family of Hyrule is also the history of the Calamity Ganon, a primal evil that has endured over the ages.
So the story-driven narrative is very linear itself, you know. There is one huge straightforward story, but it expands into other territories, into other side missions and little mini quests, you know. So it's a very rich story, you know. The cutscenes are really cool, even though they're very simplistic in nature. It's really cool to see the dialogue between the characters, you know, and hearing the sounds, you know, the little animations that kind of remind you of the old Zelda games, you know, because Zelda is nostalgic, you know. I'm pretty sure a lot of gamers can relate, even if you never played a Zelda game or played like a Mario game or something. It still is nostalgic, you know, because it invokes something in you that kind of reminds you of back when you were a kid playing simple games, you know. So like when I say that it's nostalgic, it's for this reason, not because I necessarily binge played them when I was a kid, but Mario, Zelda, Kirby, you know, Sonic, Mega Man, they all pull at my nostalgic heartstrings, you know, and this game was no different. So playing this, my God, it was freaking crazy, dude. And honestly, like it actually is the best-selling Zelda game in the entire franchise, you know, bar none. Let me just check here. It sold by 2019, it had sold 14.27 million copies worldwide, you know, and I don't know how many now, but it's definitely somewhere in maybe like close to 20 millions, you know. So one of the greatest selling games of the Nintendo Switch, you know, and obviously a pioneering title that makes it such a monolith of a console. And the combat mechanics were really fun as well. They were really satisfying, and it was nice to kind of get in Link's sword and shield, but also have makeshift weapons, like even twigs and sticks. You could use them, you know, and you could go into the shrine shrines and get upgrades to your to weapons or like hearts, health, you know. Each shrine had a challenge, you know, and it started to get harder and harder. I admit that I had to use YouTube a lot for some of them, you know, because I didn't have the patience or the time, because I only had the Switch for like a month, so it was really crazy, you know. But it's really satisfying to solve the puzzles. I'm not a really big puzzle fan. I really don't like puzzles in real life or in games or otherwise, so that's why I used YouTube a lot. But I think it was really satisfying to solve them anyway in any sense, and it really tested your dexterity as a gamer. The combat scenarios were awesome. The enemies are a little daunting at first, but it was really nice to like whack them around, you know. And also getting on horseback, having my own horse and getting her trust and naming her, you know. I actually had a stable of horses, which obviously made traveling around much easier, you know. And even though I had the option of kind of fast traveling between certain points, I still enjoyed getting on horseback and traveling there manually, you know, because it was just more fun that way, you know. It kind of gave me that sense of a swashbuckling, you know, the adventurous thing, almost like I was playing Uncharted or something. So it was really fun. Also the soundtrack, just killer, stellar, amazing. The music that was playing in the background, you know. Character development, awesome, you know, seeing Link grow and get better and better, put on different clothes, you know, armor, and which you could actually purchase with rupees that you would find, you know. There were a few really fun things that I did, you know, here and there. I wish I could have recorded for YouTube, but unfortunately the Switch that I was lent was pirated, so it wasn't possible to do any kind of screen capture. But, you know, maybe in the future, you know, when I have my own, but yeah, you know, there was a lot of exploration to be done. You know, the game really set out the open world for you to explore, and honestly, Hyrule never looked so good. You know, it really is just like, I don't know, man, it's crazy. It's crazy because, I mean, like, the game was so critically acclaimed and it won so many awards, and, you know, it was hailed as a masterpiece and one of the greatest games of all time, and for good reason, you know. It wasn't included in my list of, I don't believe I did. I don't think I put it in my list of the top 10 games ever when I did that some time ago, but if I didn't, well, if I could do it now, it would definitely be a whole revamped thing. So, yeah, basically, that's what I can say about that. A few other elements as well, the traveling, the graphics, everything looks so family friendly and nice, you know, as all Nintendo games tend to do, especially Zelda and Mario. And just seeing Link again and controlling him, you know, and seeing him leveling up and upgrading, getting more armor and stuff, you know, it just felt so good, man, because like Link is just one of the greatest characters ever put to gaming, you know. You can't even argue with that. So, and when I finally met the king, you know, I think he was the king, a very important character at the beginning of the game there, where he told me who he was, gave me the glider, you know, it was really cool to see that dialogue exchange, even though Link is pretty much silent, he doesn't say anything, as it's normal in all Zelda games. So it was really nice, a very rich story, you know, in an amazing Hyrule backdrop, you know, the exploration, the combat mechanics, the soundtrack, the characters, everything in this game was just flawless. Now, when it released in 2017, it immediately received, you know, almost immediately, right, received a bunch of different awards, you know, related to being like Game of the Year, for example. I'm gonna read some of them for you guys here, you know. So it received a lot of awards at the Game Awards in 2017, which included Game of the Year, Best Game Direction, Best Action/Adventure Game, and it was nominated for Best Art Direction, Best Score/Music, and Best Audio Design. And in 2018, at the 21st Annual DICE Awards, it won Game of the Year, among others, you know. It has a lot of different... What is with this stupid mirror? Jesus. It actually won a lot of different awards here that I'm not gonna read because it's way too much, you know. But it was nominated for many and won a few others. So basically, it is considered unanimously, you know, to be one of the best games of all time, and I of course agree with this, you know. And the thing with Breath of the Wild is that it built on what was already good. Every Zelda game is so critically acclaimed. I think few of them have been, you know, less than stellar. So this one took something that had never been done before, which is make a huge open world, you know, centered around this. So it was very unprecedented, and Nintendo had so much patience with it, you know. They spent years developing, making, and polishing it to make it look amazing, you know. Cyberpunk 2077 could have taken lessons from this, you know. So Nintendo always takes long to release their games, and when they do, they all look amazing, you know, and with good reason. Nintendo are experts at their craft, you know. They could give master classes on making games. And now my personal review is obviously going to be 10 out of 10, you know. I mean, I mean, is there really any question where this was going, you know? Obviously a 10 out of 10. I would give it more if I could. And it is perfect on so many levels because like somebody who has been playing Zelda since their childhood will definitely find this game much more entertaining and deeper in meaning, you know? Me knowing somebody who, as somebody who has always known Zelda lore but never played any game, this one was really cool, and I think the impact was a lot stronger on me because it was my first exposure to Zelda, you know? So it was a good impression, and now I could play any Zelda game and be just as fascinated as I was, you know, playing Breath of the Wild. And I would love to play the sequel, you know, it would definitely be a lot of fun if I could get my hands on the Nintendo Switch by then, who knows? And honestly, like Nintendo, just they know what they're doing, man, you know? You can always trust them to give you high quality games, you know? And if they give you a game that's less than high quality, they will learn from that mistake, from the constructive feedback, and they will make it better next time because that's what they always do. That's what Nintendo represents, you know? It's always quality over quantity. So yeah, like I talked about in this video here about the console wars, you know, Nintendo always wins because they never really try. They just exist and they put their games out there and everybody loves them. And honestly, this is easily one of the best games I've ever played. I wouldn't even put it at a top 10. It's like somewhere in the top 5s, you know, honestly, you know, and I would love to experience it again soon, you know? So yeah, guys, that has been my review of Breath of the Wild, and hopefully you guys liked it. And let me know in the comments below if you've played it before, if you've beaten it, how far you've gotten, how your approach was, you know. Give me your feedback on it. Give me your own little mini review in the comments below, and I will answer you. We can have a little debate. And if you happen to like my review, go ahead and give this video a like, and also subscribe to my channel, please, because I release videos every single day. And hey, you might as well hit the notification bell also, huh? Because you have to be notified about the videos that I release, you know, so you guys never miss a single one. And usually it's multiple uploads per day, so yeah, you guys subscribe and hit the notification bell and you get 2 videos per day. That seems like a good deal to me, huh? So that's it, guys. My God, I'm tired. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the outro screen.
Save her, my daughter.